Start singing.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the second ever episode of Xmas Your Enthusiasm. Give yourselves a hand for making it, coming this far with me. Congratulations, you made it through 13 minutes. Pat yourselves on the back. Before we jump into this episode, I do want to talk about my new favorite sandwich at Wegmans. Now, I used to fuck with the grilled chicken, but then they switch it up to some pulled bullshit, so I haven't gotten a sandwich from down there in ages now, which in Wegmans time for me is like 8 minutes. But then I was like, let me see what they got cooking. That's my ordering from Wegmans app. What do they got cooking? Hey there, guys. And I saw they had limited time only new cheeseburger sub. First of all, I rolled my eye. I'm like, cheeseburgers. Like, what they mean usually is we're just going to take this crappy cheeseburger and stretch it out so it looks like shaped like a sub roll. I don't know why this has to be limited time. I mean, it's a cheeseburger. Congratulations, So anyway, but but then I looked at it. I was like, OMG, oh my Greggy. First of all, I love the meatballs at Wegmans are really good. Like if you get the meatball sub, they're really good. I like them, but in general, I don't love pasta sauce. I mean, it's fine, but if I can get it with little to no pasta sauce, great. If I can get with no sauce, perfect. So it turns out, what's the quote unquote cheeseburger part? The hamburger part in these things is their meatballs. But even better, it's not just like here's your big rolled up meatball, like a meatball sub. They're sliced. Like great, they don't do it on their pizzas, even though their pizzas are great. But when a pizzeria has that sliced meatballs, perfect. So I was like, So I get it, and I got. Let me walk you through it. On their sesame, they recommended the sesame. Got the sesame with American cheese, double the meatball. Why not? Let's really dive in. Lettuce, tomato, yes please. And then it has Thousand Island dressing. I was going to switch it out like I normally would for my beloved mayo. I don't know why I had to say it that sexy. Sorry, ladies. I'll give you a second here. And gentlemen. But then I was like, you know what? Let me try the sandwich in its natural, in the wild as it was intended by the Wegman gods. Although I did take off the pickles because fuck that. Who wants the pickles on? No thanks. And I have to say, this sandwich, I toasted the protein and cheese with the bun only. This is unbelievable. This is my new favorite sandwich. I can't remember the last time I was this excited about a sandwich. It runs out in June. Again, I don't know why. I know McDonald's does this shit with its McRib, but that's because the thing fucking sucks. This is amazing. So get yourself the Wegmans and get the cheeseburger sub. You won't be sorry. Let's do Happy Easter, which is my least favorite fucking holiday. It's the dumbest. It's like Christmas, but instead of toys, you get some fucking candy. Thanks. If you're lucky, you get candy that looks like rabbit turds. Some nice chocolate looks like rabbit. Looks like the turds from the very rabbit they'll be eating and then shitting themselves. So maybe if the Easter Bunny people are listening, they could use that as a campaign. Rabbit turds. Happy Easter, motherfuckers. Speaking of Easter, let's do R.I.P. Pope Francis. A solemn slow clap. He's my favorite pope of my lifetime so far, even though I saw Pope John Paul in D.C. when I was a kid. Don't get me started. We're cool. Just because I thought he was like the first one I knew of. It was like he reminded me of. I had a brief flirtation with going to church right before I left Brooklyn. Turns out to be my goddaughter's godfather. I had to join a church, so in my Williamsburg, Brooklyn neighborhood, braggy. I joined the church in my neighborhood, and the priest was like, gee, I hope you're not doing what people do and just sign up and then show up once and then disappear. And I'm like, of course I would never do that to you, Father. What's your name? And then it turns out like a month after, I went every Sunday. I give myself credit. I kind of liked it. That's another story. Of course, then I ended up moving a month later. And sometimes I wonder, does he ever think about me? Like, fuck that guy. Because I would see him walking around the church, and he'd give me a look like he was pleased to see me. Like, oh, good for this asshole, you know. But then I'm like, well, yeah, this guy's thinking about you 13 years later, you know. But if you are, Father, what's your face? Still thinking about you, buddy. Anyway, yeah, so Pope, but anyway, I'm sorry. The reason Pope Francis reminded me of this priest is because his whole ethos, his whole thing was, he just took away all the bullshit of this and that with the church. And he said, hey, just be nice. That's all you need to worry. Just be nice. So I guess my favorite priest, when he learned everything he knew about being a good Catholic, I guess he learned from Dalton from Roadhouse. Be nice. He didn't get to the part where he tells us when to not be nice, but anyway. So let's get into the episode. It's a reminder. I'm not reviewing the episode. I'm not really talking about the episode itself. I'm just going through the Larry fights / transgressions. Did I even fucking mention what this episode is? It's the Car Salesman. Sorry. Episode 2 have already gone off the rails. This is why I need a goddamn assistant. Probably a hot one to keep things on track. This is from Season 2, Episode 1. Sorry, I just go through Larry's little confrontations / transgressions, a word I hate but seem to use, and grade whether he wins or loses them, and then we add them up. We keep a running score, and at the end of the series, we're going to find out, was Larry the asshole all along, or was it everybody else? So we're going to keep a win-loss running tab for him. First episode, he was a very surprising 4 wins and 1 loss. So very nice, Larry. Let's see if he keeps it going. So the first thing that pops up we need to talk about is Cheryl comes home and finds him lounging in bed all day. So she yells at him. He's got to get off his ass and start working again. Now, one thing I do know about marriage or women is Larry can't win this. You're just not. But a way I know I don't understand how marriage or women work is Larry, him being him, you think he'd be able to say, well, you know what? Since you walked in the room, I've made us $10 million fucking lounging in bed, so go fuck yourself. But I don't know. People want to know that you're as miserable as they are, I guess. So I can't give Larry that win. You're just not going to win. You're a grown man. It's tough to win the argument, why am I lounging around in bed all day while you're in a bed? That's tough to win. Oh, but I do... as a bonus here, I do agree with Larry about living in hotels. My fantasy is to be a gazillionaire so I could just live in hotels. And I wouldn't even need to live in hotels like I assume Larry David probably lives in. A nice Marriott, classy enough, no problem. I'd have no problem living in a hotel. There's no real responsibility. Have a nice terrace if you want. Just throw the towels on the floor. Who gives a fuck? Crank up the AC. I don't give a shit. I need to become a gazillionaire so I can live in a hotel. Hotel or a hotel. Anyway, so Larry starts out the episode 0-1. His next thing is this guy selling the house. Larry decides he wants to touch his sweater and ask him if it's cashmere. And it's just obnoxious. Come on, Larry. Even Larry David, you can't go around touching people. And then accusing the guy. The guy says it's cashmere. And Larry decides it's not. I understand asking, hey, is that cashmere? I'm cool, so I'd probably say, hey, is that cashmere, bro? And he'd probably say, yeah, man, thanks for asking. I say, no sweat, bro. And then you can go home to your wife and talk shit about the guy. Well, what an idiot he is for thinking that's cashmere. Perfectly fine. Perfectly reasonable in this society. But you can't go accusing the guy. Why would the fucking lie? What kind of psychopath would lie about that? Even if he's wrong, it's not cashmere. Why would you think he would lie about that? Maybe he just honestly thinks it is and is. Anyway, Larry, come on. Don't waste my fucking time. 0-2. Next up, we have him and Cheryl get into it because all of a sudden they have to move into this house. And Cheryl wants him there for the move. And he says, funny, Monday, that's the day I'm working at this car sale place. He made a bet with this guy that he'd be a good used car salesman. The guy's like, hey, I own one. Come try to sell a car. And he's doing it on Monday. Now, I understand. Number one, I understand Cheryl wants him there. But let's not pretend Larry David's lifting a fucking finger at this fucking thing. But then he's insane because he can't. The guy's not depending on you. Like, just say, hey, buddy, instead of this Monday for me to come in and do this thing you're just going to laugh at anyway, how about I do it Tuesday or any other day between now and when the earth collapses in the sun? Why can't he just do that? But then how insane she is for suggesting that he push it back. And then he just starts riffing about cars like, oh, maybe they sell it. That's my Bernie voice. What if they sell Sanders? I couldn't remember his fucking name. The Colonel's cousin. He just starts riffing and making jokes. And instead of saying, hey, motherfucker, shut the fuck up for 2 seconds and tell me you're pushing this back, she's just like giggling along, laughing at Larry's jokes. And I'm like, are they just dating? Like, haven't they been married for like 10 years or 15 years, whatever? I mean, I'm sorry. I've been with women, and after 2 weeks, the reason they fell in love with you is you're funny, but after 2 weeks, they don't want you to be funny anymore. That's it. You have the courtship in about 2 weeks, and they don't want to fucking hear about it. They don't want you to fucking be funny. So this is just stupid. It should count as 2 losses. But I give it to Larry. Larry, just push the fucking thing back. So, wow, he starts after his great 4-1 start in episode 1 here. He's 0-3 here. Let's see if he turns this boat around. Now he's meeting with Jason Alexander. They're talking about maybe working together. And Jason, I call him Jason, casually, within the context of this conversation, talks about George Costanza being an idiot. You know, everyone sees him as an idiot. And that pisses Larry off, and they get in an argument. Larry's like, he's not an idiot. Jason's like, he is an idiot. And I'm like, this didn't come up for fucking 10 years. You played him every fucking day. Like Larry David in real life was George Costanza. Jason Alexander played George Costanza on Larry David's show. And 10 years of working side by side, this never came up. The entire thing about this character that each of them thought never popped up. Okay, fuck that. Come on, be better, George. Larry gets his first win of the episode. Quick note here before Larry's working at the used car place now. Is it play? Why do I can't used car? It's not a store. People used car place. Anyway, so he's working there a couple hours. Is the boss that Larry made this bet with or whatever? Is he a shitty car salesman? How can he have Larry David, who I know back then he wasn't as famous, but how do you have the creator of Seinfeld come to sell cars at your used car place? And not try to put some buzz out there to get some excitement going. Like, what kind of shitty car salesman? How are you even a car salesman? Throw a bone out there. Hey, I know this is L.A. or whatever, and they got bigger celebrities, but people will fucking show up for anything. They hear the word Seinfeld guy, boom, they're gonna show up. So I question that motherfucker's competence there. And finally, the last transgression of the episode is Larry standing there selling cars at this car sales place. I can't fucking do it. And of course, Richard Lewis, his best friend since childhood, comes strolling in because as we talked about in the first episode, Larry David cannot leave his house without accidentally bumping into somebody he knows out and about. And even though it's Los Angeles, somehow he just cannot. I need to have a crack team of scientists, real scientists. I don't know who that was directed at. Like, I would know. I need a real study done on this phenomenon that only seems to happen with Larry, not anyone else in the human history, where he just can't walk outside of his house without bumping into people he knows. It's fascinating. So of course, Richard comes in, and they're not surprised at all to see each other because it just happens all the time. And of course, Now Larry gets in this confrontation with him about, is that cashmere? Is Richard lose cashmere? So again, it's Larry, you can't be fucking accusing people of lying about the cashmere and touching the cashmere, and then literally getting into a wrestling, getting into a physical fight in this bullshit car sales job you have. That's leaving your wife at home with like a couple of sweaty movers who, yes, Miss David, I would like an Arnold Palmer. Oops, I'll take it in the shower. Anyway, yeah, just bad loss. So Larry goes down to 1-4. Yikes. First episode starts out shot out of a cannon, comes diving back down to earth. Although, let's be honest, before I started, I would not have guessed to be at 500 like he is. Or close to 500 anyway. Close enough. So, good for Larry David. After 2 episodes, yeah, he's 5-5. So 500. Thanks everybody for listening, and we'll see you again next time on Xmas You Enthusiast.